cover.
Super. So I'll admit people coming in. So whoever is already in, I'll admit them. I'll also send a reminder right now so that people can join in.
Okay.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Let's just wait for a minute or so for others to join in as well. So I can actually remove this so that everyone who joins can directly join in. Uh, okay. Disable the waiting room. Join and leave sound. Okay. I think now we should be good. If you can, Hemant, can I ask you to go full screen on your slide, please?
Is it fine now?
Yes, this is good. So view standard speaker. Yeah. Just started. Just give me 1 second, please, and then we can get started. Okay, so morning everyone. Thanks for joining in on time. Okay, so that's strange because it should not be asking you for a Zoom user ID password. I do not know why it is asking you, but I will check in the background. So thanks for letting us know. Um, for all of you who've joined on time, thank you so much. I'm standing in for Srinath. He will join us in a bit. He is the Finance Special Interest Group lead, as you already might know. This is the monthly Finance Special Interest Group session for Indus members. And today we have a special guest, Hemant Kumar from Deloitte. He will be talking to us about a case study where they implemented advanced financial closing product. He'll also talk about the product capability and also talk about the case study of how they implemented this for a particular customer of theirs. As all of you know, Indus runs multiple special interest groups. This is the Finance SIG. I will share a link on the chat for the upcoming sessions that Indus is organizing face-to-face. Now that we are past COVID, we are running a lot of face-to-face activities as well. So if you have not registered for them, please do register wherever it makes sense. We have one coming up in Mumbai on 3rd of May. Again, that will be hosted by Deloitte in their office in Parel. And there's one coming up in Delhi. This is going to be hosted by Havels India Limited. If you want to host one of the Indus meetings in your office, please do let me know on the chat, and we can have a discussion and host a session in your office. The entire year, which is 25th year celebration for Indus, this entire year starting April until March of next year, we want to have as many customers as possible to host Indus activities within their organization and host Indus members within your company. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Hemant to take up and run with the session.
Thank you, Mukesh. Hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes.
Okay. And good morning, Indus community. Let me, give a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Hemant Kumar. I am a chartered accountant with 20 plus years of experience in, SAP-led transformation, projects implementation, and expert in SAP Office of the CFO solution. Overall, I have expertise in entire finance, controlling FSAM, then all the niche module which SAP S/4HANA has released in recent past, also in the planning budgeting. At Deloitte, like I'm leading the SAP Office of the CFO solution. In terms of my expertise, so I have a experience in different industries. So starting from the FMCG, then CPG, then airline transportation, service industries, utility powers, then cement. So in all these industry, I have part of the either finance core module implementation or one of the entire S4 HANA implementation, or maybe like planning budgeting, or also like we do a lot of finance transformation related projects. So like different kind type of projects where like we need to integrate the process with technology, where we need to automate the finance or other processes, integrate the system with other other third party systems in the finance. So this is my expertise. Today I'm going to talk about the SAP S/4HANA Advanced Financial Closing. That's the cloud-based solution of SAP. It's the product is used to streamline the closing process. So I'm starting with. So as part of the today's session, like we will start with the product overview, like what is advanced financial closing, why we need to look at the solution to streamline our closing process, what are the capability this product has to automate the month in closing processes, and then like we will talk about the overall solution of this product. Then I will quickly touch upon the case study that is very important, because in India we have done the first AFC implementation. So I will cover that case study, and then we will move to the question answer session at the last. So to start with the product overview, like let's talk about the most important aspect, like what CFO expects as part of their month end closing process to be optimized. Like here I'm going to highlight the most important aspect. Every finance team or CFO look, they want, like as part of their month end closing process, all these processes should be available. So like to start with, first expectation, I would say, all the CFO and wants that closing calendar. And like when we start our closing process before closing of the month, like at the last week of the month, and then it goes to the first second week of the uh, month, where like we do a lot of closing processes. It's either finance, non-finance, and then transactional, non-transactional based activities. So a lot of activity we perform. So first aspect is about the listing down all the closing processes, whether it is a transactional means I would say the transaction which we execute in SAP or some other third party system. And when I say non-transactional means like where like there is some process like where we need the approvals, or like some of the transaction where we do the review, we do the internal quality checks. So all those non-transactional, that also fall part of my closing activity. So first is like we should have the closing calendar in place. Then most important, communication. So in as part of my every month and process, we do a lot of activities, and then different users are responsible to manage different activities. So what is most important, like how we are going to communicate to the different users, like this is the activity he has to do. Then question comes like, why do we need to give a communication? Because here they know like what they have to do, but like when I talk about the complex closing process, so there are transactions which are dependent. There are transactions which needs to be performed first. There is a dependency. It means like the uh, respective user, like when he has to perform some of the activity, he should be notified like the previous precedence task has been completed and now he has to perform his activity. So like the way we need to notify the users through email or some other way, like we should send the notification through SMS, so all those communication. Then most important in the closing process, we can't trust like each and every user will perform their activity correctly. It means like in some of the transactions we need a maker checker. I mean, one user will create the closing transaction like provision, then another user will check, validate all the informations provided in the provisions has been correctly updated. So like maker and checker, and then you know approval process. So it means like this approval has to be recorded in system. That's why like we need a kind of workflows. It means like when the user who has initiated the transaction, when he has performed his activity, the next step is coming as a like approval of that activity, so that a responsible person go into the system and check like whether all the transactions, all the processes has been correctly done. Once it is done, like he should be able to approve the transaction. Coming to the next, very important aspect, which CFO would expect as part of the period in closing, is the controls and governance. It means like there should be a system-based controls. It means like if user is trying to do something wrong, system should not allow that. So those controls and governance should be there in this system, so that at real time, if user is not able to perform the transaction the way we have set up in the system, so system should give a error. And in the overall tracking, like the dashboard what we have produced as part of the closing status update, that should highlight this is transaction has not been completed because of some error. And then the process should have the minimum manual intervention. It means like wherever possible, like we need to automate the process. It means like some of the transactions, you take an example, we do depreciation run, you take an example where I'm doing the clearing activity, so those transactions can be automated. There should not be any manual interventions required to execute the transaction. It means like when the time frame as per the closing calendar, when that activity will get due, automatically system should trigger the transaction in the background, and whether the transaction has been completed successfully, if there is some error, so that should be visible to the administrator. So this is the another control and governance. And after that, like how we are going to leverage our uh, solution, or how I'm going to leverage our system capability to fast track the our closing process. It means like suppose if I have a minimum manual intervention, if I have a duplicate check in the system, if my system, whatever system we have implemented, it is going to increase the efficiency of the users, it means like I would be able to achieve the fast close. Then the important aspect is about the audit trail. Audit trail, what I mean to say, like once I have completed my month-end activities, after that, we should have this audit trail, means it should be auditable. If I'm going to review the activity, like who has done what, when it was done, and what was the outcome, that should be auditable. That is very important, because like when I have done the closing activity, the auditor will come and check like what are the activities we have completed. Then there should be a system which provide the entire list and status, like this is the transaction got performed by this person, this was the output, and that if somewhere if we need some approval process, then who has done this, all the approvals. So all this process transactions should be auditable, so there should be a audit trail. And then important is our visibility. It means like real-time visibility of all the transactions. If one person has performed a transaction, what is the outcome? And after completing that transaction, what is the percentage we have achieved? So that kind of dashboard real-time, it should be available. And then dashboard should have the complete details of the plan versus actual. Suppose I have done the planning for my closing. if some of the activities I have said like this has to be done on first of every month, whether the user has completed on the right time or later, that visibility should be there, and I should have the the complete trail, like when the actual activity was performed. It means like visibility is most important, and this is the way like the finance controller, CFO would monitor the closing activities. It after getting this dashboard, they should be able to understand like where are they, is all the activities are getting performed correctly. If there is some issues that can be escalated to the respective IT department, so that visibility is very, very important. Then another aspect come as a document management, because as part of my audit, we want to see what are the supporting document has been used or was created to perform some of the activities. It means the system should have capability to upload the supporting documents. That is also very important. And here the required attachment should be available and visible to the for administrator as well as the auditors. Like this is the document which is available. So considering the overall expectation, we expect like our closing process should have all these capability, so that my process of closing will be streamlined and it should be visible to the management as well as auditor. So this is the expectation, and believe me, all these expectations can be made by using the advanced financial closing. So this is the cloud-based solution of SAP, which is used to automate, manage, and steer all the closing process of an enterprise. And it does efficiently. And then all the reporting happens on real time. So the process is to get the complete orchestration of the closing processes, and it should provide a kind of a hub. It means like central system should be there, which is used to monitor the closing processes. So as part of the AFC solution, so here to highlight, like it works as a hub, because like this is the separate cloud-based, public cloud-based product. It means like it can integrate with SAP S/4HANA ECC system, and also like it can now connect with the non SAP system as well to manage the entire closing process. So like if I have a kind of a centralized system, means one SAP server I'm using for India, and you take an example like I have a global system where different countries are into this single server, or may possible like I have a different server, I'm using a different server for different countries. Like how I can automate or optimize my closing process. So like process will be to close entity. Second, if I'm doing the financial consolidation, then all entities should get closed, and then I will start my consolidation process. So entire process of closing, like in all the environment, this is the solution where like we can get the complete visibility. And then like leveraging the cutting edge technology. So here AFC use the AI also, and also like we can use the bots to automate a lot of transactions. Like suppose for example, I'm taking on example like we perform the bank reconciliation process. Now to perform the bank reconciliation, we have option like somebody should execute the transaction and look at all the processes has been completed. If there is some error, like he should complete the like rectification of those errors. Here like we can take the benefit of AI, or I can use the benefit of bot. I can use the bot to automate my bank reconciliation process. So this product has a capability to integrate with bot as well. And then as I have highlighted or earlier as well, like it's provide the central steering model. Like centrally I'm monitoring the closing of all different locations, whether we have a centralized location, decentralized, whether I have 100, 200 locations. So all the process location wise can be managed with this advanced closing solution. So this is about the definition. Then most important is like how this product is connected with different systems. So in this slide, like I have highlighted here, to connect AFC with different SAP, non-SAP systems, like we need a connector. It means like here we can see like we have AFC on the cloud platform and we have different SAP, non-SAP system. So through SAP cloud connector, it connect with different system. And communication between SAP and AFC is real time. Means if I'm performing some of the transaction in AFC real time, it goes to the SAP and perform the transaction and update the status. So this is the kind of a real time connectivity through the cloud connector between the SAP AFC to SAP and non-SAP systems. Okay, so this is about the connectivity. Now coming to the benefits, like after implementing AFC, what kind of benefit we can expect from this system? So, first is like here to streamline my closing process. Step number one, we define my closing calendar. So for each and every group who want to implement AFC, first they need to get their closing calendar and what are the tasks are performed on different dates and who is responsible. So, listing of all the closing tasks, this is the first step that is come under the closing calendar. It means like your entire closing transaction, whether it is a noted items, whether it is the real-time transaction, whether it is a approval process. So all these activities are, consolidated under the closing calendar. Then this system has a capability to send an email notification to users. So in the closing calendar, we have different activities, what is the date when it has to be performed and who is responsible. So automatically system send a notification like this is the task this person has to do. And this is the date when he is supposed to perform that. So this is the notification. And then this AFC has a capability of the workflow. So all the maker checker process workflow for the approval. So all these functionalities are embedded in this system. So standard workflows are available, which is used to perform the different approval activities, and it is visible. And all the activities like where I say like if the person who is responsible for approving some of the activities, if sometime he is not available, it means like he can delegate his work to the some other colleague, other users, so that all the functionality of workflow is available. Then coming to the real-time dashboard. So AFC provide a very lucrative dashboard to provide the complete visibility of the closing process. Then audit trail. So whatever activities are performed in the AFC are saved with log and timestamp. It means like when the person has executed the activity, what was the outcome, all these details are getting logged in the system. So it can be used by auditor for the audit purpose. Then a system also provide like user can upload their supporting document in this system. So there is a kind of limit of 10 MB of document size for one individual document, which can be uploaded. But yes, like user can upload the kind of a zip file as well. If the size is bigger than 10 MB, then user can zip and upload in this system. And then since here the status and the users are getting notified immediately for their role activity to perform, it means like it support the fast close. And then the integration part, like the system is connected with group reporting system. Robotics can be leveraged to automate some of the transactions, and also like non-SAP systems. So now FC can connect with the other systems like Hyperion. So most of the company they use either SAP or non-SAP solution for the financial consolidation. So now system can connect with the Hyperion as well. So all these functionalities are available out of the box solution. So this is the benefit the enterprise will get after implementation of the AFC. And then coming to the Next slide, where I'm showing here the dashboard. So here we can see like where we have a kind of operations in multiple region, country operations are here. So we can see the status real time, what is the percentage has been completed, achieved in the closing. So different activities you can see, like the transaction which are checked, it means completed. The transaction which are noted started, that is you can see 22% transactions is not started on some time. And then transaction, if some transaction are aborted because of some error, so those reports. And then if some of the transaction completed with error or completed without error, so all those tracking is available here. And number of tasks, so like here we have the country, or the country can be location, so this is customizable. So we have to actually, when I'm creating my closing calendar, so I have to see like whether I want a location wise, I want a country wise, the way we want, whether we want function wise. So all these permutation combination is possible to create in this system. And here the status about the number of activities which has the error, you can see here, like in the given case, like two transaction has the error. It means like here, if I click here, like system will take me to the you know details of the error and what is the issue, where who can be connected. So all these informations are available. So this is the dashboard. Then through the drill down, we can reach to the last level of the transaction. So this is the most benefit, we will get it as a real-time dashboard. Okay, so this is about the AFC as a solution, product capability, what SAP has come up with the new solution. Coming to the next is about the solution overview, means how AFC works. That is very important. Like now we have talked about all the functionality, where and how AFC can support. Now it is very important, like if as a business user or if as an administrator, how the task is getting created, how all these tasks are getting performed. So now I'm going to cover about the solution, which is part of the AFC's product capability. So AFC works on Fury. Okay. So here the URL Fury based solution, like here, like we have all these processes, and believe me, like here only the 5 app you can see here. So here the process start with the defined closing task. It means like the closing process, if you have a similar activities throughout the year, or like you do monthly activity differently than quarter close or half yearly close, or year end close. So all the tasks has to be listed and updated in this system. So this is the step number 1 when I create all the tasks in this system. Then here all the tasks, like here suppose I have a different process wise, like suppose I have a list of tasks for the general ledger, then asset accounting, ERP, material management, so different modules. So all the tasks are getting clubbed under different sub processes, and all these users are get assigned here. Then coming to the approval process, it means like all the tasks will get performed, and wherever if there is a approval process, all these process of approval will be performed, and then the overall status, and then a status on the completion. So this is the only 4-5 activities are involved here. And these are the you can see here these different apps, like first define the closing task, second process, approve, overview, and close the month end or period in task. So this is the only 5 apps are available here to provide you the complete end-to-end visibility of the closing process. So let's go to the next slide. Here you can see the defined closing task. So in the task list, we need to create the template, like how we want to manage the closing task. So as I mentioned, step number 1, when I have all the list of transaction on the template, we need to update who is the person going to perform that activity. The authorization, it means like I'm not going to assign the into complete authorization to each and every user. So this is very important to manage roles and responsibility. It means the person, if he is responsible perform one task, he should have the visibility of that task only. He should not see the task performed by others. When I also talk about the dashboard, suppose if I'm managing the country close, it means like I should be able to see all the tasks of my country only. I should not see the activities of other country. But yes, if I am a finance controller and I want to see the overall status, then I that system should have the capability to provide me the complete dashboard. It means like through the authorization group, I can do that. Then here the factory calendar, this is also very important, because like factory calendar, it means like for India, we follow one calendar. If I go to the Middle East, there will be a different calendar. If I go to the Europe, USA, they follow the different calendar. And the closing task has to be performed using the, country specific holiday or, working calendar. So here, then each and every, you know, task has the calendar. And then ledgers. Ledger means like in SAP, we have different books of accounts. So we use leading, non-leading ledgers. And also we perform, like when I do the reporting, may possible, like if I'm doing my country specific reporting, I use one ledger. But like if I'm doing the group reporting, I may use the different ledger. So, systems should have the capability to perform the closing task based on different ledger, like the books of account which I have maintained for the different, accounting standards. So based on that, we should be able to perform the task. So here, like all the activities of the closing are updated in this sequential manner, right? With dependency, who is the successor, who which task is the predecessor. So all this, information we provide while creating the task in the system. So this is the step number one, like when I set up the complete closing framework in the system. Once this is done, the finance controller will release the closing activity. So suppose like, I start my closing activities last week of every month. So suppose like date is 25th of every month when I, start my closing activity. It means on 25th of every month, the administrator has to release, like it means like, suppose if I need to start my year-end closing and I'm into 25th of March, so I will release the closing task for the year-end closing. And once it will be released, it means like all the steps what we have defined here will be released to different users. And here we can see once we have released the task, like all the users, they will get their task and they can start their performing their task or activity in the using the system. So what happens, like they will get the task when they start performing, at the time of execution, system will take them to SAP as well. It means like the system will open the SAP screen if they have to do it manually. If it has to be done in the as a background job, it means like once I have done the scheduling of the job, I have given the timestamp like when this task has to be performed. So based on that, system will automatically trigger that task, right? So here the end-to-end process is managed through this app. And here you can see like we have different activities. And if I have completed this activity, it means like it will show like what is the status, whether we have completed with error, without error. And then if some of the job, you can see here, like this is the job. And if it is scheduled, means it will show you this is has been scheduled. And some of the activity, if not yet started, it will give you the status that this is not yet started. And based on that only, the dashboard is get generated. Then coming to the activity of approval process. So wherever we have a maker checker, or wherever like we have the kind of, we have set up the workflow, so system automatically like trigger, like when the user has initiated the transaction, like it will show that that activity has been initiated, and it will go to the respective approval person, like who need to look at the system, look at the overall steps, what he has performed, and if he is happy with the overall status, like he can approve that. It means like the process has been completed. Then coming to the dashboard, so already I have explained like what is this dashboard is about, and this dashboard is generated based on the closing framework we have defined in this system. It is not a kind of a standard, but the way like I have created the structure of closing, based on that only like system will generate the dashboard. So here the overall status can be monitored, and if required, the correct action can be taken for the for the purpose of further expediting the activity, or like if you need to perform some of the activities as per the expectation or timeline, then the administrator can do that. Okay, so this is the, and this is the once like activity has been completed, so here the all the tasks like it is completed, what is the status, this is available as part of the report. So in the analysis, like we would be able to see like when it was scheduled, when it is completed, so all the complete visibility is available in the system, which can be used for the audit purpose. So this is the end-to-end solution. So we have covered the product capability, where AFC can support to streamline the closing activity, and how this solution works end to end. So that we have covered. Now I'm going to cover about the our case study. So in India we have done the first AFC implementation. So I'm going to talk about the what was the client expectation, what are the challenges they were facing, and how we took the approach for the implementation. And after implementation, like what is the status, means what is the benefit client has got by implementing this AFC solution. So I'm starting with the challenges. So first let me give you the background of the client. So the client is a leading company in India, and they have a presence in overall India, all the state, different city. So they have a operation more than 75 locations in India. And as part of the kind of finance transformation, like when before starting this project, the client had done the finance transformation project, wherein they identified the challenge in closing process, and they select the SAP FC solution. And if I talk about the challenges, then here like the closing activities were not standardized, means different location I mentioned, like they had more than 75 location, but all the closing activities were managed manually, means they used to send email, or they used to call the users to perform their activities, and all the coordinations were happening on email or all call. There was no standard templates available to the client. Then the activities, like so if the one location has to complete their task, so there was no task list available with the client. It means like the process of managing the location closing activity was managed by the location finance coordinator, you can say. So that person was responsible to manage the closing activity of his location, but there was no visibility to the head office, like how that person is managing, what are the activities he is performing, how he is doing the all the approval checking. All the process were manual. There was no closing calendar or checklist was available with the client. And then the postings, like lot of transaction which they post as part of the closing, because like there was no maker checker or no process of the approval process. It means like some of the task, if the user has performed inaccurately, posting has been done wrongly in the system, that was highlighted during the audit. So that was, so that control was missing in the process. Then the SAP, what they have invested, on they are currently on S4 HANA, but like they were not utilizing the capability of ERP. It means like suppose user is performing activities manually, some of the activity, if I can do it automatic, like if I say depreciation run, if I say the clearing process. So in these activities, there is no need of the manual intervention. But like here, they were not utilizing all the capability. And also as part of the overall process, like we had find a lot of provision activities were doing inaccurately. So those are the challenge client has highlighted as part of our approach. So like when client selected AFC as a product to implement, so first step was to streamline or get the closing framework. So first we did the understanding of their closing activity, what is getting performed by different location, what are the activities are performed by the head office, what are the activities are performed by the shared services team, and then what is the dependency are there. So first we understood their current processes, and then we developed the template, the closing framework. Like, and in this framework, we had around like I'm going to tell you the numbers, and may possible you will not believe it. So we had almost 40-50,000 activities. So you may say like, how come 40-50,000 activity can be part of my closing process? So my friends, like here I'm highlighting not only the transaction but also the non-transaction. For example, like you take an example, one user is doing the provision entry. So in SAP system, it is a one transaction. But if you look at the overall process for the closing, maybe like there will be 5 transactions. So step number 1, like suppose if I need a the provision file from my one of the user, means one of the person will create that provision file. So that is the activity number 1. Second, it will go for the review. So that second person activity will also, it will be a kind of non-transactional activity review. Third is like once it is review done, then third person will perform the activity, the transaction in the SAP. That is the transaction. And once he has completed the transaction posting, it will go to the next level for the purpose of validating whether he has completed his task or not. Once it is done, then it will go to the department head, like yes, this provision activity has been completed. But so you look at the transaction, it means like one transaction in SAP. But if you look at the overall step, then we have a 5 steps which is created in AFC system. So likewise, for this 75 location, we had almost around 40 to 45,000 tasks to be created in AFC system. So we developed the complete framework, and then once the framework was created, we implement and means created all those framework in our AFC system. Then here the most challenging, like whatever benefit I have highlighted in the previous slide. So when it was the first implementation in India, so we were also not aware of all the functionalities. So in this implementation, SAP was our partner. So their development team, their their account manager, they come up and they did multiple sessions with client, with our consultant to highlight whether the functionalities are available in AFC which can be leveraged to automate the overall closing process and provide the end-to-end kind of visibility to the client and provide the control. So here, like as part of the solution design, so what we did, like our process team optimized their closing process. Then we identify which are the transaction can be automated, the transaction which can be kind of scheduled in the background. So we identify all those transactions, like where like manual intervention will be required, those transactions where can be automated. So all this identification or grouping has been done. And also here the options, like how the overall process will be look like. and then which location will start first, which location will go next, like all the framework design was part of our design discussion and closing process. So considering the our AFC capability, then understanding the client requirement, how the product will going to support, we build the framework and created all those templates in the system. And then like the users, like when we have 40-50,000 activity to be performed, like how the user, what how the roles and authorization will be provided in the system. So with all those complexities, like we had completed the implementation, we did first pilot go live. So because like 75 location client was also not very confident like we would be able to go live big bang. So we had first pilot go live for the 10-15 location, and for rest of the location we did in the second month. And now almost the process is streamlined. So as part of the benefit, like here the coverage already I've highlighted, like here almost 70 plus locations, then 5 business BUs, 15 group of closing act, you know groups were involved in the closing activities. Here almost you can see like 250 activities were getting performed. Overall reduction, you can see like from the overall timeline, 2 days we have reduced by implementing, and then in future it will give a more benefit. And then overall process we are seeing like the tracking of the activities, and then overall real time providing you feasibility. And then in future also, like now client has implemented this, how this product can be scalable to get the bot capability, how we can improve in terms of getting some of the tasks automatically done, and then enhancing the control. So in all this benefit is now client is getting by implementing this solution. So to summarize this, like here overall, by implementing this solution, the client closing processes has been streamlined, the overall efficiency has been increased, then integration with different department, integration within system has been increased. Then the process of control, governance, like in terms of having the right governance for the closing process, that is now visible to the management. And overall visibility, like when I look at the dashboard, I have a opportunity, I can go to the the last level of details. So all these benefit client has got by implementing this solution. So this is about our case study. And with that, like I'm closing here, and I will just now open for the Q&A session. So here, based on the kind of last half an hour talk, if you have any question or you need some more clarification, like we can open for the question answer session.
Thanks, Hemant. I think you covered this earlier, but there is a question from Abhay. He's asking, month-end closing is also an issue and takes 10 to 12 days. Any way to improve the same through AFC?
Yes, so definitely. As I mentioned, like we need to monitor, or first, like we should have the right calendar, closing calendar in place. So, we need to list down all the activities, what is the dependency between different tasks. We need to look at which other tasks can be automated, means I can schedule the job, or which other task is taking more time, where like I can leverage the automation possibilities, or like I can use the bot. So using all those functionality capability, we can reduce the overall closing calendar timeline.
Thanks. I think there is a question by Mrudula. She wants to know whether GRIR, vendor and customer clearing can be done automated or manually through these closing cockpit activity.
Okay. So if you look at the GRIR closing, so yes, all those transactions can be scheduled in the background, and automatically AFC can trigger those transactions. But like the rule of the clearing, that is important. So here, like uh, scheduling the job is not a challenge, but like when I have scheduled the job, like how system will clear those open GRI, that is very important. Like, so that process we need to look at whether the overall clearing rule is in place or not. If that is there, like automation can be done through FC.
Thanks. If anyone else has any question, you can either put it on the chat or just use the reaction buttons to raise your hand, and I'll kind of call you out and you can ask your question. Okay, Mrudula says, can you please brief it? I do not know what you mean by that, Mrudula. If you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir, just I
Yeah,
want to know that what process you are talking about regarding the GRIR clearing and the vendor customer clearing, like, because we are in our company, we are already in a stage of implementing this closing cockpit. We had already started with the implementation of the same, but in our company, we are doing everything manually. And after doing the manually, the user is just putting OK in the closing cockpit process. So I want to
Okay.
know that, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I want,
Yes,
yeah.
please.
So I want to know that whether the automation is possible, that the vendor, customer, GRIR clearing, that what are the processes which we have to develop for doing this automation process in our company line? Because
Okay.
now at this time, all the things we are doing the manual.
Right. So first I will take the GRIR process. So GRIR means we have done the goods receipt, but invoice is not and we did the invoice receipt. And what is the basic rule? So system based on the purchase order number, like system clear the GR and IR. But like this is the not a idealistic case, like where the purchase order number will match with the GR purchase PO number will match with the IR. So all different company use different parameter for the clearing. May possible like we have done one GR, but against that one GR, I have multiple invoices, or vice versa, where we have multiple GR and we have one invoice. In all those scenario, like how I'm going to clear this transaction. So step number one, you need to look at what is the clearing rule. What is the clearing rule you are going to use? So first, if you say like I will match the PO number, okay, so that is the SAP standard capability. Second, may possible like if I have a multiple line item in the PO, then you will go down to the next level, like different line item in the purchase orders. If that is matching, third criteria, like suppose if using this two parameter, my closing is not getting, GR is not matching with IR, then you can get the some delivery number, means based on the delivery number you are going to match that. So I'm highlighting here, first you should implement the process, like how system is going to identify these two different transactions and clear it. And this is not the capability of closing FCC or AFC. This you need to develop and implement in SAP system. So whether the standard clearing rule will work or you have to do some enhancement, you need to look at. And also SAP has coming up with the S/4HANA intelligent GRIR clearing. It means like this solution is used in S/4HANA to create a automatic clearing rule. So based on the past historical transaction, like in the past, for the past transaction, how you have done this, all this clearing, based on that system also can generate the clearing rule. So if you have developed that rule, automatically FCC or AFC can through the batch job automate this transaction. If not, you need to look at how you are going to clear that. Similar thing will apply to the customer clearing. So in case of customer clearing, I understand like you have the open invoices, and I have a different payment which I have directly booked in the system, or maybe I have a kind of a credit debit notes. So this 3-4 transaction, if I want to match automatically, I have to look at what is the common information is there between the open invoice, payment document, and debit note, credit note. So that unique information, if I would be able to update in this system, the automatic background job can automate the clearing rule, clearing of the customer invoices as well. So Mridula, hope you have understood like what I'm trying to highlight.
Yes, sir.
here.
Yes, sir. Got it. There should be something common so that the automatic clearing can be done.
Yes. Yes. And once you have set up this rule through FCC or AFC, like whatever solution you are implementing, you can set up a scheduled job in the background.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else has any questions? We still have about 3 minutes, 4 minutes to go. So if anyone has a question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Sir, BRS is also possible in a closing cockpit, like.
So good question. So for the BRS also means I have touched upon during my so BRS, you have a kind of bank reconciliation process, whether you are using the manual or eBRS. So we use that transaction FF_5, which can be run in the background. Okay, so all the match transaction which are getting automatically matched and clear, that will be automated. But like normally what happens when we do the BRS, some of the transactions doesn't get cleared, right? So yes, BRS can be automated. So you can run the background job, and whatever line items are not cleared, like that you have to monitor manually.
Sir, it is integrated to the closing cockpit, right? Activity, we can develop a task for it, a separate task for BRS.
Yes.
And similarly with the intercompany reconciliations also?
Yes. So intercompany reconciliation also, but like hope you are using the standard functionality of intercompany reconciliation and also for the BRS, right?
Yes.
So like I'll tell you, like for the intercompany, SAP has SAP, if you are on ECC, then you have a separate process for the intercompany reconciliation. And if you are on S/4HANA, then SAP has a solution called ICMR. So that you have to implement, and then all the transaction can be integrated with the FCC or AFC.
Okay. Okay. ICMR.
Yeah, in ICMR is intercompany transaction matching and reconciliation.
Okay.
That is the solution in S/4HANA.
Okay.
And this product is very flexible to provide you the complete visibility about the intercompany reconciliation.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at the top of the hour. So if there are no further questions, then thank you everyone for joining in. The recording, as usual, will be available on the INDUS YouTube channel. And thank you so much, Hemant, for taking time and taking us through the entire session. I can already see there are some interesting feedback for your presentation. So thank you so much. And until the next INDUS Finance SIG meeting, which is next month, and the session will be on cybersecurity and how you can actually secure your SAP systems. Until then, thank you so much and take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.